course, I would never lie about any of the Obo agents' viability, let's be honest. Oh, yeah, okay, never mind, whatever. Modifier has struck my account with a magnitude relative to that of the hitscan nerf of Season 18, aptly named Stadium Quick Play, which is a real name, by the way. This incredible team lineup has brought a very interesting enlightenment to my brain machine, as well as many piles of Pompeii Ash delivered via the Orphe Beam. And that kinda got me thinking. There are a lot of mono element teams that are in the game, and Modifire's recent addition really showed me that there is a lot of potential for this archetype. So today, I wanted to walk through absolutely every mono element team because we can finally do this with most of the characters in each of the team comps being limited units. Of course, there are some exceptions here, but we'll get to those when we get to them. So join me today as we do some Wrecking Ball tricks all over the entire mono element archetype. Now, I know I've been saying a lot of Overwatch related lines, but trust me, I have not been playing the game because BAP is no longer viable in ranked. But what is viable is my consistency in plugging Glazewood. What an incredible transition, I know. We have the Glazer tag. It's amazing. We also have some pretty great people here. We have the W Oiler, who has provided us with the funds to actually get the Orphe character, as well as my moderation team and my server Glazers. Of course, I'm going to say a big thank you to my moderation team. Thank you Japan Burger, Aelise, Alexio, Blood, Macballa, Malekith, Pine, Celeste, and Suprayam for helping me run the server. And of course, plugging the big Professor Kirby once again. Thank you so much for providing us with the Orphe fund, because now we can actually beat up Pompeii relentlessly forever. And of course, a big thank you to my server Glazers. Thank you to Matt, Adam Split, Alexio again, Aurora, Eric, Chaz, DeBurna Boy, Derek Kant, Gotaru, Carrie, Kiro, Lazy Refined, Nightshade, Not Christoph, Oreo, Plowriant, Celeste again, Scythe, Saint Anger, Sweepra, The Agendler, Ziv, Rosaria, and Mai. Of course, a big thank you to the channel members. If you'd like to join, it is 1 USD, you get a little soy badge, 3 little emotes, it's pretty fire, and do not worry, even if you leave a comment and it's not inside the membership box, I will still read it no matter what. Now, without any more stalling, let's talk mono element, shall we? Now, earlier I did mention that Pompeii was reduced to a pile of ash, and that is definitely the case. I have decided to put off making this scripted because I was trying to beat up Pompeii and break 45k points, but it actually just didn't work out. Like, we are on the next cycle and I still haven't been able to finish it. The brain chemical release while playing this comp is just insane. I mean, even just looking at it in the team select menu, there's this odd, this square goes into the square hole feeling that happens when you have all the same elements on the screen, and it's just beautiful. And that really got me thinking because it has taken a while for this variant of a modifier to come out. We don't talk about the Ben Kaleda Soldier 11 one because that's not real, and I promise you we're not going to talk about it ever again. Other mono element comps have existed for kind of a while. I mean, if you look back at the really old Anton teams back in 1.0, I mean, there have been major improvements to these team compositions, and if this is no flame to the W Bros, I promise you, but at the same time, if you were to compare Soldier 11's current modifier team to the Ben Kaleda variant, you can definitely see that there have been changes that have been very beneficial for these characters. So what better place to start than the oldest of the mono element teams as of now? Of course, that would have to be our mono ether team. This has to be the most cursed wheelchair I have ever seen in my life. Like, all the buffs that you have that are available to you are insane. You get grouping, you get attack percent, you get bonus damage percent, you have def shred, and you also have ether buildup at the same time. But it just does not work because there is no stunner, so it just doesn't add up. You could probably get away with using this as a 4-star composition, but then that takes away from the mono element part. You need Juyuen here because you're not using DPS Vivian unless, okay, maybe you actually are, I don't really know. But even then, Juyuen, half of her bonus damage is locked behind the enemy being stunned. So what are we doing? It's a really cool composition in terms of idea, I guess, because of all these buffs that you get. But in execution, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm just not moving at all on this supposed wheelchair. This is... we're just gonna go to the next one. So you know how at the start of the last section I said we should go with the oldest composition first? Mono Ice is actually the oldest composition that we have on this list. I completely forgot about how Astra was the 1.5 character and Miyabi was the 1.4 one. So I got distracted by the Juyuen elephant in the room, okay? I'm sorry. Mono Ice is certainly one of the compositions of all time. You have to manage a lot of resources, but in the burst window, you can actually just bring down an entire city on the opposition. However, the main issue that I have with this comp is that you need Batman levels of prep time to actually set up this window, and there is also the chance that you completely have a mechanical failure and you decide that you have to hit the enhanced basic restart the run attack just because of a slight error. Now, I'm speaking like I know what I'm doing in this composition, and I really don't. I've decided to open it up and have people send me their gameplay because I don't want to touch this comp, and I have something against it, and that something against it is my lack of Miyabi. It's a really cool composition because of how cheap it is, and also how well it actually maximizes each character's individual strengths, Lycon's insane damage multiplier buff during stun, as well as the Ice Def Shred. Sukaku has some insane ice buildup as well as a really solid attack buff. And then of course you have the best character in the game who's just doing nuclear damage whenever she wants and whenever she needs to. Obviously, when you have a comp that is this cheap, it is not going to be easier for you to compete with other compositions that have more premium units. However, if you were able to execute it, you have one of the biggest money-saving teams in the game, which is kind of insane to think about. Do I still have a thing against it? Yes, and it's because the creature decides to show up when I really needed another character. Now, okay, it may seem a bit messy in terms of what I'm trying to describe to you all right now, and that is very true. I low-key be freehanding it right now. But let's lock it in slightly right now. One of the main appeals of these team comps comes from how well they're able to enable the main DPS or main carry's disk drive 4-piece. I mean, looking at Chaotic Metal, Inferno Metal, and Branch because Mebatron just gets her own signature disc set for some reason. But considering that most of these 4-piece disc drive sets are locked behind the anomaly activation, having multiple characters in the team with the same elements can really help out your uptime. Whew, man, this really does seem like foreshadowing towards a certain red and fire related disc drive set that I may have made some jabs at in the past. Potentially, obviously, it's all potential. But on top of this, there are many unique instances where the main DPS disc drive set can appear on multiple units as well as a mono element comp that is not really related to the 4-piece disc drive set of anyone in the team comp. We'll get to that right now. Starting us off with Mono Physical, this is one of the strangest compositions of all time. We call it the fast pass composition, the way that they be bypassing the stun line. That was a W bar, by the way. You gotta admit that.
High resolution airstrikes.
Playing this composition is like watching a bag of popcorn go around in the microwave, where it's like, boom, one kernel, it's an assault. And then you have two go off at the exact same time right afterwards. Oh my goodness, it's a disorder, and then it's an assault. It's a very unique composition, and the fact that you get to use Fanged Metal on two of your carries, which I was about to say something that doesn't exist at the moment, but we have Sandbee and Trigger, so I would just be lying if I said that. But this comp is really sick. You just maximize the 4-piece set value of Fanged Metal immediately after one assault is procced, and you basically have 100% uptime because the only instances of damage that you're going to be doing are with assaults, and you usually are going to follow up your first assault with your Disorder and other assault because Alice is a fair and balanced character. And then there's Yuzuha in this composition just to troll you, because you think that you're not going to have enough anomaly buildup after you did one, and then you see that the assault meter is actually full and you have to wait for the internal cooldown to happen, and then you drop the second bomb. Of course, you have to moderately glaze Norax's favorite composition in the game, and you can tell that this is a really good comp because he actually stopped saying Jane Doe buff in version 2.x. Now, after we've completed our glazing session on the Mono Physical, it is time to go on to Mono Electric, where really we are treated to one of the strangest compositions of all time. Is it a mono element team or is it a seed team? I think it is a seed team because there is no one here who actually uses Thunder Metal. And if we're going by things that we've seen in the past, a lot of these comps revolve around that 4-piece set. I did mention earlier that there are comps that really don't care about it. However, if you're as chopped as me and you decided to not get Sandbee for some reason, you can use Harumasa instead as an alternative option. This guy can actually use Thunder Metal, and does it really work? I don't know. It's okay. I can almost kill the crab right now. This composition releases insane brain chemicals, but Harumasa really is just a Minecraft dispenser. Sometimes he shoots a regular arrow. Other times he's gonna shoot a damage-tipped arrow. But really, that's all he does, because you're gonna lose out on DPS if you're not on seed, which kinda sucks because his slashes just get sent to the sidelines. Like, seriously, why does the Benchwarmer have to defeat buffed Sandbee, the entire Hoyo dev team? Like, they don't even release his banner again on rerun for some reason. They just have a thing against this guy. Like, he was free as well? Like, what are we doing? The original Mono Electric compositions were pretty neat to see, especially the Harumasa ones, because bro would never be running out of stacks because so many shocks would be happening if you had someone like Grace or even Rina on your team. In combination with Chingyi, this comp was actually really solid. And then they decided that you don't get a stun meter at all, and you have to break through it again. It's beautiful, really. Good game design, I promise you. But I mean, the current Mono Electric team makes use of most recent DPS unit, which is gonna have future value, I promise you. Trigger, in parentheses, broken unit, as always. And then Sandbee or Harumasa, whichever one you really feel like using. It's a great comp, I promise you. This is actually an insanely fun composition. I'll have the gameplay in the background, full of life and joy. It's just an amazing time. And now, finally, we have done it. We have made it to Mono Fire, everybody. Now, if you take all the good aspects of the previous compositions, except for the cheapness of Mono Ice, because how are you supposed to compete with that comp? And you throw Soldier 11, Lighter, and Orphe all into the same composition. Man, it's just a beautiful experience. I cannot even lie to you. Imagine having to worry about not having a burn ready during a stun window and having to burn your morale meter as the enemy is already stunned, just so you can have some extra fire anomaly, or potentially even ruin your rotation by having to use Astra at the end of your chain attack to make sure that the Rocketboo, of course that you're using Rocketboo, right, to hit a large fire anomaly buildup at the end of the chain attack. Now imagine all those problems going away very violently because Orphe is hitting them with the Orpheidal laser and is pushing those issues away. This composition is absolutely disgusting, dirt nasty, and incredible all at the exact same time. Orphe is not being maximized here, obviously. She's much better in an Aftershock-based team with Sanbi, who is able to buff her overall damage. However, her utility here is that she does really solid damage on her own and has really good interrupting of enemies on top of anomaly buildup. The overall damage isn't going to last because HP will increase over time no matter what happens. What really matters here is that you get a slight attack buff when you activate the Orphe laser, but the most important part is that fire anomaly buildup. The fact that Inferno Metal becomes a actually okay disk drive set amongst all the other elemental disk drive sets just because you get access to this team comp, I think it is an insanely good composition just for that reason. Sure, you lose out on Astra's insane bonuses that she gives you, but you traded it off for a far more seamless gaming experience with Orphe because, of course, you're running that canonical team up, and of course, the undefeated champion just sitting there as the Opal squad goes to town. I cannot even lie to you. Playing this composition has increased my overall quality of life to an extent that I don't think I could have ever imagined. This composition low-key life-changing, I cannot lie to you. It is so seamless when you play it. It is so fun. It's also a little iffy because sometimes Orphe's laser is a little too strong and it can interrupt Pompey as he's swinging at you, so you might not get the maximum performance points. But do we really care about that part? No, because we almost destroy the entirety of Pompey's existence. There's just something so satisfying when you're able to line up elements and have an activation of the anomaly and just have 20 million damage instances fall from the sky. It is an incredible experience, and I'm amazed that Zenless has been able to pull this off so well. I mean, I know of other mono element comps in other Hoyo games like Mono Fire enabled by Linny in Genshin. And then of course everyone's favorite mono quantum composition in Star Rail, which is definitely not chopped and is most definitely a real comp, I promise you. But the way that Zenless has been able to mesh and even encourage you to actually run these compositions is something that is just so satisfying to do, and I'm just so glad that they've done it finally with Mono Fire. But yeah, that's the whole video. Thank you guys for watching this. It is a bit messy, I cannot lie to you, but I was like, screw it, we're gonna have some fun with this. I don't really care too much about the script because originally it was gonna be an argumentative one, and that was kind of draining and really annoying to write. So why don't we just return to this standard channel branding of just glazing excessively. Also, I am doing this on the new glaze station. I think I'll have a video going in the background. Hopefully I don't dox myself, but this is the Computinator. I will be streaming from this starting next week, most likely. I just had to get things set up for this week, and I had to get this video out. But yeah, sorry for the delay. It's been a bit. I was really busy last week and the week prior, but hopefully uploads will resume very shortly. Do not worry about it. I will still be around. But with that out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.